We did it. We got one more straight. Hogan's 266 is, I'm going to run it some more this evening. We are successful. Remember I told you run it about a minute or so and it starts acting like it's running out of gas? Well, it was definitely a fuel problem. I changed my vacuum line again, running my impulse. Double checked my fuel line. Went back in the carburetor. And I found the teeny tiniest little slug of dirt. You know how with your little can of brake parts cleaner with one of these, you can kind of sticks it in where the fuel inlet is, and then you can depress your needle there, and you spray and it'll come up through. Well, fuel was coming up through, fuel was too, but the fluid was coming up through. All of a sudden, and I said, well, I'll hit it one more time, and I give it a little air pressure, and I hit it again with that. Now, we've cleaned this carb twice, but there was a lot of sawdust in it when we first took it apart. I'll admit that. There was a lot. So, it doesn't happen very often. Once in a while, something sticks in one of them. You pull your jets out, and you spray here, and you clean here, and we got a sonic cleaner right behind me that we use too, but in this case, I didn't want to take only just a minute, because I know it was already clean. Well, sure enough, a little slug came through. Was it enough to bother? I don't know. But it did start flowing more fuel. And now we got it. It's ready to ship. So, hopefully, if things go good tonight with it, which I fully expect now, I have the confidence, that saw's going to ship. Blue Thunder carburetor, I got one right here. I'm getting some steel parts from a real good guy, and carburetor included. So I'm going to try this carburetor. We're going to clean it right now. We're going to put it on this saw, and we'll get this one straightened out with the carburetor. And then it's down to making sure the oiler's oiling right, which I don't think it is, honestly. There ain't enough oil. Well, it might be. I know I have my bar nice and clean, so there ain't a lot of dribbling of oil. But we're going to make sure we got a good oiler in this. We know we got a good ignition. We assume we have good ignition. I'm not saying it ain't positive anymore. That'll bite you right in the butt. Hey, I want to show you something, guys. We got the tap, 14 millimeter. I was a cheapskate. I bought a used one off eBay, but it's a nice one. So that we can do in that alcohol saw. Yep, straight plug. And we will finish CCing this. And we're going to try it. I'm going to target my compression first, because I know how much filler I put in and how much room it took up with this angle. Like I said, we're going to trash probably 2 or 3 of these cylinders. Just getting things right is what's going to happen. Okay, so that project, it's a back burner, but it's in the front of the back burner. This saw, now I got to solve this saw's problem. So that would make 5 in a row. 5. They give me fits. This one here was beyond insane. Right down to the point that you had to, it was simple, but there was a lot of things that was cropping up during this build. Luke said that he never had it to run long enough to freaking really dial it in. Well, the carburetor running 2.5 turns out or whatever, and it was gagging. When you go 100 cc on these, I'm gonna warn you, you want a darn good quality carburetor. So we're gonna go through this one, and we're gonna get her fixed up. Okay, I buy these from eBay. Every time I share some of this information, then I can't buy them anymore, because you guys buy them all up. But I'm going to do it anyway. Pretty obvious they're Korean or Chinese or something. Yep. They're the 10-piece kit you find on eBay for Dremel tooling, Dremel burrs. They got a double helix. See that? That's the ones you buy. That 20-pack that they got on eBay for $10, I bought them. Don't buy them. That double helix does 3 times the job that the Dremel stuff does. And it doesn't wear out nowhere as near as fast. And it's dang sure easier to find. $13. That's what that costs. 13 darn dollars for 10. I think that's cheap enough. Now, I'm sorry, I don't care where it's built. If it's good stuff, I'm going to share it here. And I'm sorry I can't get anything from an American company that's as good. If I would love to. I would love to. But it is what it is. But these are very good. Are they always going to be good? I don't know. Chinese have a habit of quality control problems. So as long as they're working, I'm going to keep using them. But I normally, you go through 2 burrs porting one saw, generally. I have 2 favorites I use. I go through 2. So far, with the first one of these I got, I've done 5 saws and they're still going strong. But I'll tell you what it did do. I bought 2 more boxes. And what I like is these have actually got usable ones. I mean, these are ones you would really want to use for different areas. Don't be afraid to change your tooling. A little info for you. I thought you'd like that. So what we're going to do is take this darn carburetor right off. Tin Man Saws, what do you think? Pretty good channel, ain't he? Nice guy. Canadian. Hey?
Hey.
Good guy. I got him on WhatsApp finally. Kenzie sent him over to me. If you haven't went over and seen Tin Man's with an S, Saws with an S, Saws with an S, go check him out. Guy's knowledgeable. He's a humble man, down to earth. I told him today what I'd like to see at some point, especially with everything going on. Maybe we can do this, maybe we can't. I'd like to figure a way to getting him, Kenzie, and I in the same room for about a weekend to build one saw together. Take all of our ideas and all our creativity, put it together. Ain't nobody God. I don't have all the answers. You guys already know that. None of us do. But I'll tell you what, we learn. But it'd be great fun to build a saw. Or maybe each one of us build one. You know, and share tips and tricks. Just to have a good old hoorah. What do you think of that, Colin? That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe we get them. Maybe we'll tear a dirt bike engine.
There we go.
Build one of them. Maybe we'll get the parts to do one of them too.
See whose bike's the fastest.
Yeah. It ain't about fastest. I'll tell you right now, I think some of you get the impressions that I build hot saws. I'm not claiming to build hot saws. That's not it. I want strong work saws. Yeah, I know. I'm procrastinating with that one because we're going to build an alcohol saw. You know, sometimes you got a pickup truck, you just drive to work, and that's what that's for. And then other times you got one that's got 8 inches of lift and 40s on it for just playing. Yeah, it's like that. That's what that is. I couldn't afford to ruin anything logging. I really couldn't. You know, you think you're making a lot of money logging. I mean, you can't never spend any when you are because you know there's bad times coming. Every time the market hits and it's good and the weather's holding and the equipment ain't breaking down, hold your breath. It's coming around the corner. And the only way to solve them problems you get is throw money at them. They go away. And that's what logging is. You want to know why we do it? We love it to death. We love it right to death. You have to, or you're not going to make it as a logger. If you're working in the woods and you're miserable, you're going to get hurt. You really are. I'll tell you that straight out. And I firmly believe that. Actually, I'm going to tell you, I've said this before, but I'll say it again for you new people. You want to go be a logger, honestly, that's not if you're going to get hurt. That's when it happens. When everybody that's logged, that's ever done it very long, you know, I'm talking 20, 30 years, they've got a big dent somewhere. It's you're not gonna escape that. You just are not. I need to find my little Phillips here. So just know that. Risk assessment. It's what I'm doing dangerous. Be a humble man about what you're doing. Because about the time you get cocky, it's going to bite you. I'll promise you it's going to bite you. You're going to pay for that. And those of you that are loggers and know people are loggers, you'll notice one trait of the true blue logger. He's a pretty quiet guy, and you can tell by the look in their eye that they've been through some crap. Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's what it is some days. Well, anyways, what you got to do is water off the duck's back. Deal with your problems as they crop up. Endure. You're enduring so much all the time. It's freaking ridiculous. I'll turn this light on, so it's going to bother you for a minute. I got to be able to see on this next step here. These little buggers here, they just kind of flip up over, that linkage does. Now these saws, they're a little funky. Okay, I did it. That's what it takes to get a carburetor off. It's no big deal. Well, we had enough fuel in the darn thing, I can tell you that. I got it all over. Created a mess. That made me feel good today when I got Hogan's saw straight, because I've been wanting to send that to him for a while. Another one of them deals. The linkage on these saws, it's hard to get them to choke. You can tell how much time these got. This ain't got none. It's stiff. You look at where things roll and they ride over things, and I just slightly round the corners. And once in a while, you can put a little notch in that linkage and you get a high idle on them. But knock on wood, so far I've got them all to at least run and run good. But I haven't got through figuring out how to get a high idle on these. If any of you figured out the high idle on these saws, or you might got one that works. These don't, and I'll tell you what part of the problem is. And there's a correction. If you got a carburetor that's working good, and you got a high idle issue, but you're going to run the Chinese carb, see that link? See that right there? That arm right there is too long. Okay. It goes in this notch right here. See that little round notch? When that flips up, that's supposed to go in there and lock. But they screwed up their length. You could take that right there and shorten that, round that again, to where it just, when that choke flipped back off, it would keep a high idle. You can do that with a Chinese carburetor. But when you put one of these buggers on, you don't have all that. You got to depend on the linkage doing it. So what we're going to do is find out what... I'm not even going to bother taking this one apart. I just ain't. I got to say one thing. They want you to think they're doing something. They put all kinds of neat numbers on them and everything else. But they don't do me no good. Not if the darn thing don't run. So what I'm going to do is set this out of the way. We'll continue to visit while I'm taking this bugger apart. I want to make... I take... unless the saw runs perfect when I get it here, there's occasions that happens. A lot of times they don't. I like it when the saw needs to be built, and then we do what we got to do. But I like going through these cars before I put them back on, because that is a complete waste of time to do all this work to an engine, and you don't know whether that carb was good or not if you didn't start that. Well, in a lot of cases, these saws don't run, or they run poorly, you know. This is what it is. But we're going to find out if this is the right thing to do. We're down to the wire on the issues with this one. I'll tell you that straight. We don't have much left to do. So hopefully today I get lucky. And I got one more where it's right. There's things I still want to do this saw. I'm waiting on parts. Be patient. You'll see it here. Okay, let me get this stuff all. Bear with me, folks. I get that where I can see it. You know, other than there's no screen in this one, which is not a big issue, it's a pretty good looking unit. This is a personal carburetor off of one of my own saws that I haven't ran on in years, so I've taken it apart. I do want to run it. Another 66. I can't get enough of them 66s. Some people hated them. They really did. They were known for ignition failures. I never had any in the 44, 46, 66. I'll tell you what I think was going on with the people that did that. Here in the snow belt, when you're running a saw pretty hard, even in the winter when it's cold and you got a foot of snow or so on the ground, that's hot. Ignition is hot. And I've seen the same guy do this twice. Just kind of tosses the saw on the ground, flips over, gets packed full of snow up in the starter cover, won't start. Seen it happen twice. I watched it happen twice. And I also noticed that when somebody brought one to me that didn't run, and it was ignition, they said, geez, you know, right after that snowstorm, I don't know, he said, we had some good going. You'd think even 3 feet of snow would be a stopper for you. Logging around here in the Northeast, it ain't. Them logs turn into skis. As long as you got traction underneath, you're going. As long as that cutter can shovel his way. You know how many times I've took a chainsaw bar and used it as a snow shovel so I can get down around the tree far enough to even cut the darn thing? It's amazing, isn't it? And that's what I did too. I paid my dues logging. I probably wouldn't cut it as a professional logger anymore. I've got one too many dents, and I don't want to screw that gasket up, but if I do, so be it. Well, you got to be awful careful with this stuff. You really do. I know, Harv. Why don't you just grab one of them new kits you know you got there and be done with it? Well, I'll tell you what. That might be what happens anyway. There ain't no holes, but that feels hard. That pump feels hard. My experience, if you want to depend on that saw and that feels hard, it's gonna tell on you. That's what it's gonna do. Level looks good. There we go. That, you know, it's a good thing I did this. This saw would not have run. That needle was lacquered to that seat. Yes, sir, it was. That would not have run. I had to tap it a couple times to get it to work. That's surprising. Then you got to hold your right fingers. I think this one's going to need soaking. So we're going to put it in a parts cleaner, and that's how we're going to do it. I got to pull that needle out first before I do it. And we're going to put this right in the parts cleaner, and we'll make this run, and it won't take too long. It won't. Oh, a couple hours probably. Hour. Let's just see. Any good news from you guys? I want to hear it. Talk to me, friends. I forget the guy's name. I should have been prepared with my tablet in front of me. I got a few of you I want to answer what you questions he was going to ask. I wish I could call his name out. One guy in particular is tickling me right now. He took a 66 Magnum. Now, apparently this guy has got access to either a machine shop or he is a machinist. And he took, Jonathan Riddle, is that it? I think. He took an 880 cylinder and piston. He shaved that, cut the head off, got his numbers where they'd line, and built his own head, got a center plug in it. He sent me some pictures. I'd like to get them. The next video we edit, I got some pretty cool stuff that you guys have sent me, which is really great. If you got something of your personal saws or saws that I've built for you, and I'd like the videos, pictures, just send me pictures. Email me pictures of what you got. And let's try to get them in a future video if you want your stuff on a video, even in photo form. We can do that, can't we, Colin?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to do that then. Send me your pictures to ironhorsechainsaw@gmail.com. Send me your photos. Give me your backstory on it. I'm interested. It's going to be cool. One of you guys, I noticed that comment this morning, was wanting to know what the pros and cons are of using 372, for an example, Husky, with a big bore versus going with a 50 millimeter. Big bore's 52 millimeter. All right, here's what we got. Piston weight. The big bore's way more. Not a lot. We found that out on a gram scale. They don't weigh a lot more, just a little more. But a tiny bit's a lot in a chainsaw. I mean, 4 grams is quite a change, you know. You wouldn't think it, but it is. They're really wheeling. The big bore saws have a tendency to build slightly more compression because of surface area, total volume. More displacement displaces more air. Okay, you end up with generally a lot torqueier saw. Okay, but they don't generally feel like they got more, but they got enough more. I mean, you're taking a 71cc saw, making it 77, right? Okay, now when you run the 50 millimeter bore, you get some really cool things you can do. Now, I want to share this. I was going to keep this one a secret. I haven't weighed this yet, but I got an idea of being a line. For that alcohol saw, I didn't want to run a cast piston. You guys that race, run bikes, do anything, you know why. Yeah. Wiseco. Forged. CCC Specialties, where I've been getting them. I was dealing with Dominant for a long time. They had the best darn piston in the world, but they kind of fallen by the way or something. I've left many messages with Bill, so I had to go elsewhere to find stuff. So that's a nice looking piston. It is a forged Wiseco. There's places that they build into this. You can lighten them a little more if you want. In fact, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to see exactly what this one weighs while I got your attention right here. These gram scales are not stupid accurate. They'll get you within a gram most of the time. Okay, I just want you to know that. Is zeroed out good? 80 grams. I always weigh them with a wrist pin. 92. This is a 52 millimeter. This is a big bore flat top for that alcohol saw. Flat top pistol will make more power in some cases, but it depends on what you're doing and what your numbers are. That's fairly light piston. That really is.
That was 114, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm going to show you something. The lightest piston I found is 52 millimeters so far, and this has got the pin in it, is the 272 windowed piston. And you can you have to cut a bit off the top of it. And you can make yourself quite a little dome with these. But this is the lightest 52 millimeter that you can use in a 372. And that's 98. So that's quite a bit difference.
That one's got a window.
And that's with a window. I thought, oh boy, we're really getting somewhere. Now, here is a factory 372 piston with a pin. It's got the rings on it. To make that fair, I need to get the rings off, don't I? These gram scales are about 12 bucks on eBay. Yeah, you probably get what you pay for. If you're using it as a comparator, stock 50 millimeters, 101.1 is what this says. Let me see how many times it says that. Stock 50 millimeter, 101. Well, this one now come 0.2, so it's within a couple tenths anyway. So you can go to a big bar with a CCC Wiseco, which is 2 millimeters bigger, for 92. That's 8. That's 8 lighter. Crazy, ain't it? I think somewhere here I had a the big bore. I know what it weighs anyway. I can tell you. I don't have it right in front of me. I think I put it in a box. The 372 big bore with a pop-up from Highway, that weighs 106. Okay, because we're going to have a nasty little beast, I wanted light, but I still wanted to run the big bore. I made a good choice. Landed right on 92.1. That's perfect. My next choice was the 272 windowed piston, but I would have to shave the top, which gives you a bigger dome, more compression. So think of that one. That's 98.6. That's 6.5. So that was 6.5 grams difference. This is it. This is the ticket right here, guys. Looking forward to this build. I'll carry you every step of the way. Failures and successes. I'm going to tell you right now, with this build that we're doing with that all-call saw, I'll promise you, there's going to be a lot of hurdles to overcome, just like we did with the Hogan saw. A lot of them. The more things you mess with, the more you're going to mess with it. I'm going to tell you straight out. But are you going to continue? Are you going to bullhead your way through and sort it out and find each problem and address it simply? Yes, that's what you're going to do. I love some of the builds you guys are talking to me about on WhatsApp. Leaving an email, showing me. Oh, man, you guys are great, you know. You're freaking whacked out people, man. You really are. And that's why you belong here. You fit right in. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Rusty Hill. Thanks, buddy. Just thanks. Eric Nelson. Eric, I'll owe you something big someday, and you'll get it. Eric did me a solid. Yes, he did. And I don't forget that. One hand washes the other, Eric. We'll take care of it. Sometimes somebody will do something for you that you don't ask for, and they want to do it because they love you, man. Well, guess what? He found me a 61 white top. Husky. And it's nice. Meant a lot to me. It really did. This one, I think, is probably pretty good, and I won't have to do piston and cylinder. I got an idea. And I'll tell you what, if it's that way, I won't build it. I might take it apart, inspect it, clean it. Mild port. I need a good firewood saw. That's perfect, isn't it? Mild port. Enhance what's there. Sometimes it's way better than trying to get stupid. Don't get stupid with these saws till you've done a few just to make them what the factory could have made. That's kind of important. They'll bite you. They really will. Okay, that's enough for this video. We're cooking with gas now. We got some great builds coming up, and we're going to show them to you. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.